Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get into it. All right, shout out to Desmond, my chief moderator, for gifting the channel 5 memberships. Thank you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings to you. And you all show Desmond some appreciation, all right, for being so kind. Okay, so let's see who is in here. Auntie Leah, G from the land. Luna is here. All right, Buckhorst, DC. Faye is here. Vince, I am, all the way from the UK. We the People, Sunset Nights. Pensy Lola, it's Trisha Cookie. All right, let's get into it, Fat Boo. I see you. We the People's here. All right. So, hey, Anita Harrell. Shawshana is here. The lovely T, Latasha. Andrew is here. Okay, so let's get this party started. Everyone, please be sure to hit that like button. All right, thank you in advance, beloveds. That's the way you can support the channel absolutely for free. Okay, so hey, Queen Amoni Huey, Nessie X in the house. All right, so let's talk about it. Y'all, it is some very interesting updates in the Jay-Z, Diddy, and Tony Buzbee debacle. All right. Hey, Shiny. My Aunt Egypt's in the house. Okay. Fifi is here. So there's some very interesting updates. Now, Tony Buzbee has gone out and hired attorneys, not only for himself, but Jane Doe as well. And, you know, that may be shocking to some people, but it's not really uncommon for attorneys to represent one another, especially when they see how Jay-Z's moving, trying to insinuate and imply extortion and blackmailing and all of that. Frivolous claims because he seems to think that he should be above the law. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Now, first things first, they filed a notice of appearance. So let's talk about that. Please take notice that Mark P. Wrestler and Kasowitz Ben Torres LLP, an attorney admitted to practice in this court, hereby enters as an appearance as counsel for plaintiff Jane Doe and for plaintiff's attorney Anthony G. Buzbee in the above captioned action in respect respectfully request that all further papers and correspondences be served upon him. Now, this was filed on yesterday. Okay, this was filed on yesterday. Tony Buzbee said he's not playing games, all right? Now, plaintiff and her counsel, Anthony G. Buzbee and the Buzbee Law Firm together respectfully submit this memorandum of law in opposition to the motion of defendant Sean Carter under Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Procedure to dismiss plaintiff's amended complaint and to award him monetary sanctions against Buzbee. Because remember, Jay-Z wanted Buzbee to have to pay him, okay, after he made those frivolous claims. Now, and I'm talking about Jay-Z made frivolous claims, not Buzbee. Now, Carter's motion amounts to an outrageous and unprecedented attempt to silence a plaintiff who alleges that 24 years ago, when she was 13 years old, defendants Carter and Combs raped her. Carter's celebrity status does not entitle him to special treatment by the courts, and certainly do not on the mere say-so of his lawyers, as this court has recognized. Okay, Kaslowitz Exhibit B at 4 says the court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. Now, relying solely on what his attorneys say are inaccurate details in plaintiff's account of this horrific assault, Carter asked this court to ignore the federal rules of civil procedure and as a sanction for what his lawyers falsely say was Buzbee's failure to investigate, summarily dismiss plaintiff's well-pleaded FAC in its entirety. Okay, now, and FAC means first amended complaint, because remember, she initially was only suing Diddy and they added Jay-Z later. Now, they want it dismissed in its entirety, which would run roughshod over her right to take discovery and prove her claims before a jury. Even assuming the plaintiff misremembers details from 24 years ago, that is no basis for evading the requirements of Rule 12 by dismissing her FAC under Rule 11 based solely on purported factual disputes concerning those details. This is especially true, whereas here, the purported factual disputes concern details arising solely from the memory of the victim. Here, a child victim of sexual abuse. All right, and so there's that. So, I mean, you know, basically Jay-Z's little lackluster attempt to getting these charges or getting this case dismissed is it falls flat. It falls flat. And here's what was sent in November of 2024. In the November 2024, the November 5th, 2024 demand letter, okay, Buzbee said, let me just share this on the screen because this is what Jay-Z claims was the extortion. Okay. Now, this is why he claimed extortion. In November of 2024, in the demand letter, Buzbee said, I have recommended to Ms. Doe that we immediately file suit. And I expect when we do that other victims will come forward. Emphasis added. He is deceptively indicating that suit hasn't been filed, but suit was filed in October of 2024. Now, this is what Jay-Z's attorney is saying. Buzbee was also threatening to cause a public spectacle. Doe has no interest in causing a public spectacle, but she will do so. And he put it in all caps. Now, emphasis added. Given this threat and deceptions, I don't see how the extortion case gets dismissed at this stage if Jay-Z fights the motion to dismiss. Now, concerning the assault allegations, Buzbee said of Joe, she constantly lives the horror that she endured at the hands of you, Jay-Z, and your associates. Emphasis added, because he put it in all caps. Now, note that he said associates, plural, but the allegation was only that Jay-Z and Diddy assaulted her. Well, let's not forget, no, that's not true, because they had Celebrity B, who was likely J-Lo, in my opinion, as I've said before. That person was also included. So what's he talking about? Jay-Z and Diddy were just the ones named, okay? But Celebrity B was also in there. So that would be the associates. I don't know what he's thinking. Then in the next sentence, he alleged that Joe was drugged and raped by you, Jay-Z, and Combs. Note the apparent internal inconsistencies about the number of attackers. See, he's real grasping at straws. He says, note the apparent inconsistencies about the number of attackers. But didn't the first lawsuit say that Celebrity B sat there and watched? It said that Jay-Z held her down and started doing stuff to her. I said that Jay-Z or Diddy removed her clothing. It said that a female celebrity, Celebrity B, sat there and watched. So where's the lie about the attackers? They're clearly desperate at this point, is all I'm telling you guys. But hold on, because there's more. And Tony Buzbee brought the receipts. Okay, he brought the receipts. But first, let's talk about this article. And let me ask you all something. Hold on. How does my audio sound, you guys? Does my audio sound okay? Does my audio sound okay? Because I'm getting a little static in my earphones. One's in the chat if the audio is okay. One's in the chat if the audio is okay, guys, because I'm getting a little static on my end. Okay, sounds good. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so let me share my screen. Oh, no. First, let's do this article. Okay, so this article says Jay-Z's extortion allegations fall flat. A deep dive into Tony Buzbee's demand letter and the legal stakes ahead. Now, this came out yesterday. In this exclusive report, I'm taking you behind the scenes of the controversy surrounding Jay-Z's ongoing legal battle, where he claims attorney Tony Buzbee's demand letter amounts to extortion. Now, after reviewing the portion of the letter recently obtained, I can't help but notice that what Jay-Z's legal team is calling an extortion attempt appears more akin to a standard, albeit slightly underwhelming, demand letter. Now, in my 2 decades of experience in the legal and insurance sectors, I've been seen plenty of posturing by the defense counsel to dismiss or discredit a potential claimant's position. But this scenario feels especially tense given the high-profile nature of all parties involved. Before delving into the meat and bones of how a demand letter should be crafted, let's just keep in mind that these letters are often the opening salvo in a high-stakes legal dispute. They must persuade without crossing the line into intimidation or extortion. Now, after careful review, I find Jay-Z's case for labeling Tony Buzbee's letter as extortion weak at best. Now, mind you, this was written by a legal expert. Okay, moreover, the presiding judge already admonished Jay-Z's counsel for certain procedural missteps to doubling down on his argument. So doubling down on his argument might not be the best look. Well, I can tell you that it certainly isn't in this case, because like I said, Tony Buzbee has receipts. And so we're about to get into it. Now, I'm going to share my screen because I took the liberty of digging up these legal docs. But before we start, let's have a word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. And let me also say that you guys may hear the bell ring, my doorbell ring momentarily, and I'll have to give you a brief intermission because I'm expecting a package. Okay, so please pay attention. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all been said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes oil for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so now let's get into it. Likes up, everybody. Please hit that like button. Thank you in advance. We got to see what's really going on. All right, here we go. Now, this was filed on yesterday. Okay, we'll start right here. Excuse me. Okay, plaintiff and her counsel, Anthony G. Buzbee, and the Buzz Law Firm together. I already read that page. Hold on. Let me scroll down some. Okay, this is especially true, whereas here the purported factual disputes concern details arising solely from the memory of a victim. Here, a child victim of S abuse, which basically it is well established typically causes memory lapses. Now, in fact, Carter's lawyers themselves got flatly wrong one of the details they falsely claim undercut plaintiff's claim, asserting that at the time of the grape, Carter's co-defendant Combs did not own the house where the S assault may have taken place. But in fact, Combs did own the house, okay? So you know how stupid this makes Alex Spiro and Jay-Z look? They're sitting up there trying to point out the inconsistencies in Jane Doe's story, who, mind you, is intellectually disabled and also was 13 years old, right at the time. But Jay-Z and his attorney, they didn't even know that Diddy owned the house. Now, they definitely didn't do their research. So Carter's lawyers purported certainty about what happened to plaintiff is thus utterly unjustified. Now, the NBC report on which they principally rely itself acknowledged that its purported findings do not necessarily mean the allegations are false. That acknowledgement alone under applicable law removes any possible justification for Rule 11 sanctions here. In any event, when stripped of their salacious rhetoric, Carter's lawyers challenged plaintiffs' allegations and recollection regarding watching the MTV VMA Awards, the show on a Jumbotron, speaking to limousine drivers during the show, the location of the after party at which she was raped, speaking to a celebrity at the party, and plaintiff's father picking her up after she was raped. Now, as shown further below, none of those purported challenges are meritorious, and none come close to proving, as they must, to justify any Rule 11 sanction, let alone the most drastic sanction of all, dismissal, that Carter did not rape plaintiff. Okay? So that doesn't prove anything. Now, in the footnote, it says, among other things, in fact, there were Jumbotrons not far from the VMA show. Carter's lawyer's assertion that the limo drivers were cordoned off proves nothing. That Carter attended one after party does not mean he did not attend others. Because remember, they said that Jay-Z, this is what Alex Spiro said, which is why I further believe that J-Lo is Celebrity B, because he said that both Jay-Z and Jennifer Lopez were at Club Lotus and said that they were not at the party that this young lady is talking about. Now, he goes on to say that because they attended one after party does not mean that he did not attend others, and plaintiff's father could very well simply not have remembered that he picked her up after 24 years earlier, particularly given that she did not tell him where she had gone or what had happened to her, reflecting a reticence also not uncommon among sexual assault abuse victims. Certainly on this pre-discovery record, there is no basis for assuming the truth of Carter's lawyers' assertions. To the contrary, at this stage of the litigation, plaintiff's allegations must be assumed to be true, and Carter's lawyers' assertions, if they raise anything at all, at most raise only factual disputes that may not be resolved on this pre-discovery record. I want y'all to pay attention, because here's the thing. Remember how I was so adamant, and I kept telling you all, and you heard it here first, that Buzbee had something up his sleeve? I said, I know he's probably got some damning evidence on Jay-Z. And I also told you all that when Tony Buzbee said that he had another law firm to vet this young woman, I said, Buzbee's lying. But it isn't that he was lying. He just wasn't telling all of the information, because now come to find out, not only another law firm supposedly did vet her, but so did Buzbee. She was vetted by more than one attorney. Okay. With that all being said, do you think all of these people, vetting her would, and even by a police officer, if I'm not mistaken? So with that all being said, the fact of the matter is, Tony Buzbee knew exactly what he was doing when he put her up there to do that interview, just like I told you guys. So Carter's lawyers also falsely say that Buzbee did not sufficiently investigate and was not permitted to rely on plaintiff's unequivocal recollection that Carter raped her. Now, as the courts have made clear, Rule 11 sanctions will be imposed only in extraordinary circumstances. okay, of which celebrity status is not one. Here, there are no circumstances at all, let alone extraordinary circumstances, justifying sanctions against Buzbee. And in fact, it is out of judicial concern for encouraging zealous advocacy that the courts maintain a high bar for establishing a Rule 11 violation. But over-the-top zealous advocacy is precisely what, as this court has also recognized, Carter's lawyers are engaging in, of which this motion is the latest and worst manifestation. Now, here's where they're talking about, they said the court has already recognized that it's overzealous. Well, that's because they already scolded Alex Spiro, okay, for basically reaching. If you remember, the judge already went in on him for filth. Now, Carter's lawyers relentlessly filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic unlikely to benefit this client or his client. Contrary to Carter's lawyers' baseless assertions, Buzbee included the allegations against Carter in the FAC only after an investigation, including, numerous interviews of plaintiff and vetting of the information plaintiff provided that more than satisfied Rule 11's requirements. And on the other hand, Carter's lawyers' motion, which they filed even in the face of this court's discouraging them from doing so, is nothing more than an improper attempt to intimidate plaintiff and her counsel, and is factually and legally meritless. And if anyone has violated Rule 11, it is Carter and his lawyers, who under Rule 11C2 should be sanctioned by awarding plaintiff and her counsel the attorney's fees and costs incurred and having to respond to their motion. Do y'all hear this? Tony Buzbee done flipped the script. Oh, y'all hearing this? He has completely flipped the script on their arses. And I find it all so interesting. Now, Tony Buzbee is basically saying, while they're sitting here trying to sanction me, trying to act like I owe them something, acting like I filed frivolous paperwork and that they can prove that my client is lying, none of what they said amounts to any lies being told. It is simply a person who was a child at the time, may not remember everything adequately, but at the end of the day, neither can he, and they're both adults. They didn't even know that Diddy did, in fact, own the home that she said this all happened in. So what are they talking about? And so now, since they want to be out here saying all this and doing the most, how about this? How about not only do they not get to dismiss this motion, but how about we sanction them and make them not only pay for that, but pay for the fees that we've incurred? Jay-Z and Alex Spiro are looking real crazy right about now, honey. They are shook. Empress says these new lawyers are actually Trump's longtime lawyers, Queen. Yes, that's what I heard, beloved. Isn't it all so salacious? But let's keep going. Let's keep going, honey, because this is, I told y'all, this stuff is getting juicier by the day. Okay? Now, with that all being said, so now it goes on to say, let's talk about the background and the facts. As set forth herein and in the accompanying Buzbee declaration, plaintiff's counsel's pre-filing investigation was thorough and satisfied Rule 11. Now, in early October of 2024, Jane Doe was referred to Buzbee and the Buzbee firm by AVA Law Group, AVA Law, plaintiff co-counsel in this action. Now, this is the attorneys, the law firm that previously vetted her claims, okay? So before the referral, attorneys at AVA Law investigated the veracity of plaintiff's allegations. Plaintiff went through AVA Law's intake process, which the Buzbee firm understood to include numerous interviews, including an interview with by at least one and possibly more attorneys. Only when the attorneys at AVA Law were convinced that plaintiff's allegations were true did they refer plaintiff to Buzbee. Because here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention because you all know I've already told you that Tony Buzbee is in fact an award-winning attorney. Do you think that AVA Law would have sent this woman to him if they weren't about their business, if they hadn't vetted her thoroughly? Because Tony Buzbee would have laughed in their faces. Okay, so all the people saying, oh, well, he didn't vet her. Oh, she's lying. Oh, her story's inconsistent. They sound crazy. Specifically, Alex Spiro and Jay-Z. Now, goes on to say that the AVA law were convinced that plaintiff's allegations were true, and they did refer plaintiff to Buzbee. In addition, the attorneys at AVA law prepared an initial version of the original complaint. Two attorneys at the Buzbee firm interviewed the plaintiff, fact-checked various aspects of plaintiff's complaint, and revised the complaint prior to its filing. Prior to filing the FAC and naming Carter as a defendant, Mr. Buzbee and other firm attorneys engaged in further rigorous due diligence to investigate the veracity and legal viability of the plaintiff's claim. This woman was thoroughly vetted, y'all. This woman was thoroughly vetted, just like I told y'all. I just need y'all to remember that you heard it here first. Now, the Buzbee firm's efforts included, among other things, intensive interviews amounting to cross-examinations of plaintiff by 3 to 5 attorneys, both alone and in teams, and research and verification of numerous details in plaintiff's account. The Buzbee firm ran a background check on plaintiff and retained a retired police detective to research and confirm other aspects of plaintiff's account. So she was vetted by a police officer too. Okay, and we already know how the police go about interrogating people. So clearly, Tony Buzbee had it all mapped out. All right, I told you guys that Jay-Z and Alex Spiro took the bait. Now, the Buzbee firm also conducted research to confirm the close connection between Carter and Combs. So when Alex Spiro is sitting there telling lies, talking about Diddy and Jay-Z were never friends, and all the other ignorant fools who were out here reporting the same, saying, oh, no, they weren't really friends. They were just business associates. You see how people have a lack of common sense and critical thinking skills. Now, we all know that we've seen numerous of pictures of these two for years. We've seen them at different events together for years. Okay? And Tony Buzbee already did the research. So as soon as Alex Spiro tried to paint that false narrative, they already knew it was a lie, which means that they're desperate. When the lawyer starts lying that early on in a case, they are desperate. Okay? They already know that something's about to go down and it won't be in their favor. Now, so anyway, he already confirmed the close connection between Carter and Combs, which further bolstered the conclusion that plaintiff's allegations were plausible, credible, and warranted legal recourse. Now, plaintiff alleges that on September the 7th of 2000, when she was 13 years old, went to Radio City Music Hall in New York City to try to attend the VMAs. Now, as plaintiff did not have a ticket to the show, she watched the VMAs on a Jumbotron outside. In hopes of talking her way into either the VMAs or an after party, plaintiff also approached and spoke to several limousine drivers parked nearby the VMAs, one of whom claimed to work for Combs and told her that plaintiff fit what Diddy was looking for, and he invited her to an after party. Later that evening, the driver brought plaintiff to an after party at which plaintiff believed to be a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. Inside the party, plaintiff recognized and spoke to several celebrities. Now, and this is what I want you all to pay attention to. You see, here's the thing. Remember how I did the breakdown? Somebody talking about fake Nancy Drew. Hold on. This I am the fake Nancy Drew screws, aka 1.25 pay wig, pay attention, beloved ad, like and share the Real Quick Receipts broadcast. Bitch, you are so messy. But and speaking about her, you know what's interesting is when she was trying to assert that the incident happened in 2003. Well, see, that's why that's so asinine, because she doubted Tony Buzbee's expertise. You see, she got on the Tony Buzbee bandwagon after I started showing you all what a good trial attorney he was and talking about his him having something up his sleeve and how he was playing Jay-Z and Alex Spiro. Because first she was all Alex Spiro. I just want y'all to pay attention how people try to, flip their talking points over to mine when they first were saying the opposite. Because if she really thought Tony Buzbee was such a good and thorough attorney in the first place, she would never have assumed foolishly that the incident actually occurred in 2003. Tony Buzbee already put in the paperwork that it was 2000. And y'all think this man, who's an award-winning attorney and a very good trial lawyer, did not know what year it happened? That he didn't have the wherewithal to figure that out? Of course he did. Okay, of course he did. All right? Just like I said. Now, with that all been said, let's continue. So After receiving a drink from a member of the wait staff, plaintiff began to feel woozy and lightheaded, at which point she found an empty bedroom to rest in. But soon after, Combs and Carter and another individual entered the room, at which time Combs grabbed her and said, you are here to party. Thereafter, both Carter and Combs held plaintiff down and raped her. Plaintiff was able to escape after fighting back, and she ultimately made her way to a gas station where she called her father, who then picked her up shortly before dawn. Now, see, here's the thing right here. Remember how in the previous paper that I read, Alex Spiro or Jay-Z's attorneys were trying to assert that they had the amount of attackers wrong? Well, I told you all, it clearly said that Jay-Z and Diddy were the attackers and that the other person just sat there and watched. This is how you know they're desperate. They're clearly grasping at straws at this point. Now, since the initiation of this lawsuit, more than 24 past and current employees and clients of the Buzbee firm have reported being approached and harassed by individuals claiming to be investigating Buzbee, going so far as to urge the clients to bring meritless lawsuits against Buzbee, including regarding his attempts to get justice for Carter and Combs' victims and offering money to do so. This has resulted in several frivolous lawsuits against Buzbee. In filings in this action, Carter's lawyers have repeatedly referred to these lawsuits to discredit Buzbee. Now, based on the investigative efforts made by the Buzbee firm and others, the Buzbee firm has filed several cases of bartry on behalf of its clients who were offered money to file a claim against the Buzbee law firm. And that basically means that when it says they filed several cases of bartry, like they're basically trying to say that he was unethical and it was engaging in some sort of extortion or whatever. Now, these cases detail the illegal activities of the investigators and those behind them who are believed to be Carter through his entertainment company, Roc Nation, and Carter's lawyers. Again, this speaks to the desperation of Jay-Z. You see, if you had nothing to hide, if you were completely innocent of these allegations, you would not be, first of all, going on the attack to the attorney. That's the first thing he did that made me feel like he's definitely done something. Okay, he attacked Tony Buzbee, tried to bring down and destroy his credibility rather than pronouncing and proclaiming his innocence to the mountaintops, which is what I would have done. The next thing is they start calling the accuser a liar and saying, you know, that this absolutely never happened, and then trying to debunk her claim. So I know now I would have done that too if I were them, but then they come back and they get these people, allegedly, these investigators, to go and start trying to dig up dirt on Tony Buzbee by going to former clients and then even offering them money to file these frivolous lawsuits. This all speaks to the desperation of it. You know, someone who has nothing to fear, someone who is unbothered, someone who is innocent does not need to go through all of these tactics. That's what they don't need to do. Now, on December 13th of 2024, 5 days after naming Carter as a defendant, plaintiff sat for an interview with NBC to recount what she called the catastrophic event that would ruin her life. When questioned by NBC about what it claimed were some potential inconsistencies in her allegations, plaintiff told NBC that she stands by her allegations overall. NBC itself acknowledged that the inconsistencies in her account of the incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago do not necessarily mean that her allegations are false. NBC noted that plaintiff's father purportedly did not recall picking her up from the gas station the next morning, as plaintiff alleges, despite it being approximately a 5-hour drive. Now, Carter's lawyer's strategy is transparent. Instead of litigating this case on the merits, they have chosen to attack Buzbee's ethics and motives. Exactly what I said. Okay, please pay attention. Now, indeed, Carter's fixation on Buzbee is evidenced by his very first motion in this matter, in which Carter names or refers to Buzbee no fewer than 75 times. Jay-Z, Sean Carter, how desperate are you? I have several questions. Okay, now this inappropriate and unprofessional bullying tactic persists despite this court's admonition in its December 26th order, because remember, the judge went in on them. Now, since Carter's attorney first appeared in this case 17 days ago, he has submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of plaintiff's lawyer, many of them expounding on the purported urgency of this case. Carter's lawyer's relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic likely to benefit his client. The court will not fast track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. And then they reference some of these other cases. So what do you all think about this? Because I find it to be absolutely egregious. I mean, Jay-Z and Alex Spiro are just being called out. And this absolutely, they did use bullying tactics. They absolutely did do that. Okay, they absolutely did use bullying tactics. And like I said, this all speaks to the desperation of it all. It speaks to the desperation of it all. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you. Okay, so let's get back into it. So, where was I? This inappropriate and unprofessional bullying tactic persists despite the court's admonition in its December 26th order. Okay, I read all that. Okay, so let's go down to the next page. Okay, so now plaintiff told NBC that she stood by her claim and that her father may have misremembered. Okay, during the interview, plaintiff told NBC that musician Benji Madden was one of the celebrities she spoke to at the party in question, but NBC determined that Madden was on tour in the Midwest at the time. In response, plaintiff explained, honestly, what is clearest is what happened to me and the route that I took to what happened to me. Not all the faces there are as clear. I may have made a mistake in identifying. Finally, NBC also reported that Carter and Combs had been photographed at VMA after parties in Manhattan that night, and neither of the venues of those parties matched plaintiff's description of the house that she was raped in. However, NBC also noted that Combs and Carter's whereabouts for the entire evening are unclear. Remember, I emphasized that to you all. I said they don't even say where they were the rest of the time. Just because they went to this place doesn't mean they didn't go somewhere else. It is not clear what time those images were taken, or if Combs and Carter attended any other after parties. We know that they were at one party where he and J-Lo got into an argument. I showed you all pictures of that. Goes on to say, plaintiff also explained that she didn't know exactly where we were going or even how long it took. Mr. Buzbee told NBC, we have attempted to confirm the correct location. Plaintiff has been very specific and detailed about the description of the venue that she says she was taken to. We won't speculate on whether there was an after party, because again, she doesn't know that. Now, as Buzbee also stated to NBC, plaintiff remains fiercely adamant that what she has stated is true to the best of her memory. Buzbee further explained that we always do our best to vet each claim made, just as we did in this case. Plaintiff also told NBC, you should always fight for what happened or for what happened to you. You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let anybody or let somebody else ruin or run your life. I just hope I can give others the strength to come forward like I came forward. Now, the original complaint in this matter was filed anonymously on October the 20th of 2024 against Combs and other corporate defendants. Plaintiff filed a motion to proceed in the litigation anonymously on October the 24th of 2024, which this court provisionally granted on November the 6th of 2024. The complaint was amended on December the 8th of 2024 to add Carter to the allegations of sexual assault and abuse. Again, plaintiff sought to proceed anonymously. On December the 9th of 2024, Carter, through his counsel, filed a motion to deny plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously after he filed anonymously against Buzbee. Y'all remember that? Jay-Z filed the extortion case against Buzbee under an alias himself. Now he wants to sit here and try to go in on her. Now on December the 13th of 2024, Carter's lawyers filed a pre-motion letter informing the court of their intent to immediately file for sanctions and requested a shortening of the 21-day safe harbor provision in Rule 11. Then on December 18th of 2024, Carter's lawyers filed an emergency motion to strike the FAC and dismiss Carter from the action. On December the 26th of 2024, the court issued an order admonishing Carter's lawyers for repeatedly attacking Mr. Buzbee's ethics and motives, denying Carter's emergency motion to strike, and denying Carter's attempt to shorten the safe harbor period to 1 day. Since Carter's attorney first appeared in this case 17 days ago, he has submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of plaintiff's lawyer. Carter's lawyer's relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic unlikely to benefit his client. The court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. Jay-Z, it's not looking good for you and Alex, Beloff ad. Now, despite the court having admonished Carter's lawyers in its December 26 order that the court discourages the filing of their Rule 11 motion without first seeking leave of court, they nonetheless did so. That's because they're desperate. They had to do it anyway. They couldn't be stopped. They clearly were grasping at straws. Now, in a December 13, 2024 pre-motion letter, Carter's lawyer stated that they intended to immediately file this motion for sanctions and requested an expedited briefing schedule from 21 days to 1 day. On December the 17th of 2024, Mr. Buzbee received a copy of Carter's 11 motion, his Rule 11 motion. See, they wanted to make it 1 day instead of 21 days, so they felt like Buzbee wouldn't have time to, prepare himself to react. Now, on December the 20th of 2024, Mr. Buzbee filed his opposition to Carter's lawyer's pre-motion letter, arguing that any Rule 11 motion on allegations concerning a child rape victim would be frivolous and would itself be subject to a Rule 11 motion in response. Buzbee pointed that Carter's lawyers to authority, recognizing that a victim who was a minor at the time of an S assault could not be expected to have exacting recall and command of all relevant facts. Now, Carter's lawyers do not come close to establishing that sanctions are warranted here. Sanctions may not be imposed unless a particular allegation is utterly lacking in factual support. Okay, then they reference a myriad of cases. Sanctions should not only be imposed where it is patently clear that a claim has absolutely no chance of success. And it is also established that plaintiff's counsel is entitled to rely on the representations of their client without having to access his credibility. Credibility is solely within the province of the finder of fact. Moreover, whether to impose a sanction for Rule 11B violation is committed to the sound discretion of the district court. Because Rule 11 sanctions represent a drastic, extraordinary remedy, courts seldom issue them, and then only as a very last resort. Furthermore, it is well settled that courts should not impose Rule 11 sanctions that may discourage counsel's obligation to advocate zealously on behalf of its client. See, this is how you know they're so desperate. Now, they sat up here, even though the judge told them they shouldn't do it, even though the judge warned them against it and said, listen, this is not a good idea. Y'all need to just wait and see what else comes out. But no, out of their desperation, they went ahead and filed it anyway. And as we can see here, it's done nothing to benefit them. Okay, because Jay-Z seems to think that he's above the law and that he shouldn't receive any consequences, and that, how dare an attorney speak on the behalf of their clients, okay, and accuse him of anything. But in fact, isn't it the attorney's right, or isn't it their job to speak on behalf of their client and to agree with the accusations that the client has alleged? Now, Rule 11 sanctions are a coercive mechanism available to trial court judges to enforce ethical standards upon attorneys appearing before them, while being careful not to rein in zealous advocacy. Now, courts maintain a high bar of establishing a Rule 11 violation, given judicial concern for engaging zealous advocacy. And see, here's the thing. You don't just get to file a Rule 11 and sanction an attorney without some serious, hardcore evidence of some sort of malfeasance or some type of unethical practices or whatever having been engaged in. Because if you do, and it is granted when it really shouldn't be, that prohibits the attorney from being able to adequately defend their clients. And in this case, Jay-Z and Alex Spiro used this as a bullying tactic, as an intimidation tactic, just as Tony Buzbee has proclaimed. Now, finally, courts must resolve all doubts in favor of the signer of the pleading. Here's the argument. Under any standard, and certainly not under the high bar and very last resort of Rule 11, there is no basis here to impose any sanction, let alone dismissal against plaintiff or her counsel. Now, what Carter's motion amounts to is an outrageous and unprecedented attempt to silence a plaintiff who alleges that 24 years ago, when she was 13 years old, Carter and his co-defendant Combs raped her. Carter's celebrity status does not entitle him to special treatment by the courts, and certainly not on the mere say-so of his attorneys. I'm Alex Spiro, and I say so. That's what he thought was going to work. Well, sadly, it didn't for him. Now, as the court has recognized, the court will not fast-track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. Notice how they keep reiterating that. Relying solely on what his attorneys say, principally based on the NBC report, are inaccurate details in her account of this horrific assault. Carter asked that this court ignore the federal rules of civil procedure and as a sanction for what his lawyers falsely say was Buzbee's failure to investigate. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, falsely investigate, summarily dismiss plaintiff's well-pleaded FAC in its entirety, which would run roughshod over her right to take discovery and prove her claims before a jury. See, Jay-Z, he does not want this to go to a jury. That's what him and Alex Spiro don't want, okay? They do not want this to go to a jury. Okay, please pay attention. That's what they don't want. They're so desperately trying to avoid it. Truth Brown says Jay-Z losing his cool, looking guilty, ho. Okay? Oh, so crazy, right? Now, with that all being said, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Jay-Z, I do believe that he felt like because Alex Spiro is such a prominent attorney and has represented so many powerful and prominent people, I do believe that he thought that the court would give him some leeway and allow him, even though he shouldn't have been, allow him to go ahead and have this case dismissed. I think that's what Jay-Z was banking on. Okay? But let's continue because this is all nefarious. Now, even assuming arguendo, which means arguments, okay, that plaintiff misremembers details from 24 years ago, that is no basis for evading the requirements of Rule 12 by dismissing her FAC under Rule 11 based solely on purported factual disputes concerning those details. This is especially true, whereas here, the purported factual disputes arise solely from the memory of a victim. Here, a child victim of S abuse, which is well established, typically causes memory lapses. Yes, peripheral and less central details can get distorted more easily than many people realize, but decades of research have shown that the most central details are not easy to distort. Basically saying that she may have forgotten a few little details here and there over time. And also due to her being traumatized that night and possibly even drugged, as she claims. And so we shouldn't expect that she would remember every single detail. But they say that, research basically shows that the main details, the main things that cause the trauma would likely be remembered. So that's what's the most important. Okay, so permitting Dr. Harper to testify regarding repressed memory theory and child sexual abuse. Okay, now, see, they're going to call in experts. They'll call in expert witnesses to speak on this, okay, to the validity of it all. Now, Dr. Harper to testify regarding repressed memory theory in child abuse case. Indeed, it is for this reason that courts routinely permit expert testimony to explain various syndromes that impact the victim's memory and other behaviors. Okay, permitting expert testimony to explain inter alia that victims of S assault may disassociate during the crime or continue to disassociate afterward, and that these same processes also affect the victim's memory of the traumatic incident, leading to severe memory deficits. Internal citations and quotations omitted. Okay, now they list a case where this likely was applicable. They say we have long held evidence of psychological syndromes affecting certain crime victims to be admissible for the purpose of explaining behavior that might be puzzling to a jury. such as delayed reporting, recantation, and inconsistency. See, this is all good because that way, if the jury hears or sees any inconsistencies in her testimony, they can call the psychologist up there, the medical expert, okay, can get up there and say, listen, this is common. This is something that happens due to traumatization or whatever. Oh, and that'll explain that to the jury so it won't be held against her and it won't look like she's just sitting up here making up lies or whatever. Now, as the courts have made clear, Rule 11 sanctions will be imposed only in extraordinary circumstances, of which celebrity status is not one. Sorry, Jay-Z, it ain't working. Here, there are no circumstances at all, let alone extraordinary circumstances, justifying sanctions against Buzbee. In fact, it is out of judicial concern for recognizing zealous advocacy. I want y'all to pay attention. I'm going to skip past some of this because it's getting a little repetitive. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. As Buzbee has fully complied with Rule 11, there is no truth to Carter's lawyer's contention, okay, that Buzbee conceded a failure to vet plaintiff's allegations or that he has sought to pass blame to referring counsel. Rather, Buzbee told NBC that he and referring counsel had already thoroughly vetted plaintiff's claims and that he is continuing to do so, as any reasonable attorney would. Nor is there any truth to Carter's lawyer's argument that Buzbee filed this action for the improper purpose of destroying Carter's reputation. To the contrary, the FAC was filed to vindicate plaintiff's rights and to vindicate plaintiff's rights on which Carter's lawyers principally rely, did not establish the falsity of plaintiff's claims. And Carter's lawyers' own mistake concerning details on which they also rely, a mistake made not by an S assault victim, unequivocally confirmed that Buzbee correctly has refused to knuckle under their wrongful demand that he withdraw her claim. So none of the factual issues raised by Carter's lawyers justify sanctions. In any event, Carter's lawyers' purported certainty about what happened to plaintiffs utterly unjustified. Now, when stripped of their salacious rhetoric, Carter's lawyers challenged only plaintiffs' allegations and recollection regarding watching the MTV VMA Awards show on a Jumbotron, speaking to limousine drivers. Okay, we've already gone through all of that. Now, she says unequivocally that it was Sean Carter and Diddy who raped her. Okay, please pay attention. Now, here's where they talk about the father again and him not being able to remember what happened. Hold on, I'm going to back it up a little bit. Hold on. Okay, none of the factual issues raised by Carter's lawyers justify sanctions. So, as shown above, none of those purported challenges are meritorious, and none come close to proving as they must to justify any Rule 11 sanction, let alone the most drastic sanction of all, dismissal, that Carter did not rape plaintiff, or that, as Carter's lawyers also falsely say, Buzbee did not sufficiently investigate and was not permitted to rely on plaintiff's unequivocal recollection that Carter raped her. Certainty on this pre-discovery record, there is no basis of assuming the truth of Carter's lawyer's assertions. To the contrary, at this stage of the litigation, plaintiff's allegations must be assumed to be true, and Carter's lawyer's assertions, if they raise anything at all, at most raise only factual disputes that may not be resolved on this pre-discovery record. Now, the third thing they say is, with respect to plaintiff's allegations that the party at which she was raped took place at what she believed was a large white residence with a U-shaped driveway, Carter's lawyers make the irrelevant argument that photographs show that he was elsewhere. Now, also, Carter's lawyers take issue with plaintiff's allegation that her father picked her up. from a gas station shortly before dawn, the morning that she was raped, on the grounds that NBC reported that her father does not recall doing so. Given that this occurred 24 years ago, it's not surprising that the father may not recall. Okay, I already read this. What did I do? I think I must have slipped up and gotten on the wrong page or something. But anyway, Carter's motion should be denied because it seeks to evade Rule 12's requirements and impermissibly avoid discovery. Now, this motion should be denied for the additional reason that Carter's lawyers filed it plainly in an effort to avoid discovery and evade the clearly satisfied requirement under Rule 12 that to survive a motion to dismiss, a complaint must contain sufficient factual matter accepted as true to state a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. So basically what Buzbee is asserting here, he's saying that they're just trying to hurry up and get this stuff dismissed because they do not want to enter the period of discovery. Because you see, that's when all the facts start coming out. That's when the evidence is shown and presented, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and all of that. So they want to dismiss before it even gets to that point. Like I said, desperation is what it reeks of. Okay, so anyway, it goes on to say, it is only where no reasonable evidentiary basis for a factual claim was disclosed in pretrial proceedings or at trial that the district court must then scrutinize the objective reasonableness of the attorney's pre-filing inquiry and the basis for the claim developed by that inquiry. Now, they say Carter's lawyer's reliance on Levine versus FDIC is utterly misplaced. That case bears no resemblance to this case. In Levine, 2 years after commencing the action, after deposition testimony established that a particular witness had never conducted business in Connecticut, plaintiff's lawyer filed an amended complaint adding that witness as a defendant, falsely asserting that personal jurisdiction existed on the grounds that the witness regularly did and solicited business in Hartford, Connecticut. The lawyer also submitted an affidavit and caused his client to submit an affidavit that substantially contradicted in many material respects the client's sworn deposition testimony. Thus, it was the lawyer's blatant disregard of the facts and his concocting facts that warranted sanctions. Okay, so basically they're trying to say this is what Jay-Z and Alex Spiro are doing. Okay, so according to the information in this footnote, Jay-Z's attorney Alex Spiro is trying to liken this case of Levine versus FDIC to Tony Buzbee, where he's trying to say that Tony Buzbee was engaged in extortion, that he was unethical. He's trying to liken it to this, but that is not the case because as you can see from what I read in this case, this lawyer, he had a blatant disregard of the facts and he was concocting facts. He was making things up. Buzbee saying that's not the case here. We're not making up ish. We got the receipts. Okay. So anyway, he said, and that his concocting facts that warranted sanctions. So he was warranted to have sanctions because he was just lying, just making up stuff. Okay. So he said it is also entirely in opposite. It is also entirely in opposite. Now, they're the plaintiff's lawyer for more than a year after being retained to when he filed the complaint, did not attempt to investigate the plaintiff's claim. So he didn't do his due diligence. This attorney, so this case has no bearing on Tony Buzbee and it has no relevance, is what he's saying. Furthermore, plaintiff's attorney persisted in pursuing the case even after discovery failed to elicit any evidence corroborating his allegations. So he didn't have a leg to stand on, is all Tony Buzbee saying, and this don't have nothing to do with Tony Buzbee. According to the issue of sanctions, including with respect to pleadings, normally will be determined at the end of litigation. Now, refusing to find at an early stage of the litigation without the benefit of discovery and a thorough analysis of the merits of the case that plaintiff's factual allegations are completely without support. Okay, addressing issue of sanctions at the end of litigation is a sensible practice, whereas here the thrust of the sanctions motion is that institution of the case itself was improper. Okay, now let me just break this down because it's a whole lot of legalese going on here. So let me tell you all what Buzbee's saying. Buzbee is saying to the judge that, listen, Your Honor, listen, okay? OG Patrice just became a member. Thank you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings to you. I appreciate you. Now, here's what Tony Buzbee's asserting. He's saying, listen, Your Honor, with all due respect to the court, there is no need to try to dismiss this motion because we have not even gotten the chance to present any evidence. We've not gotten to show any proof of the allegations. And if we do show proof, when we show the proof and it is not sufficient, then that is when it would be appropriate to dismiss the matter. But you can't dismiss it when you haven't even given us a chance to show what we have in the arsenal. Okay. And like I told you guys, that was all the tactic and plan by Alex Spiro, trying to get this thrown out and hoping, TC Dan said concoction. I like that word. I do too, beloved. So, Alex Spiro thinking that he was going to get some sort of preferential treatment by the judge, by the court. That's what it sounds like, because he knows darn well. Listen, Alex Spiro is a very good lawyer. He knows darn well that you have to have extraordinary evidence to substantiate the filing of a Rule 11 sanction. He knows that. So why would he do it? Because he thought that because he's representing Jay-Z, Sean Carter, and that because he's such a high-profile attorney himself, representing all of these celebrity high-profile clients, he thought the judge was going to show him favor. That's what he thought. But instead, he got admonished. Please pay attention. It all went wrong for him real quick. Now, so it goes on to say, the preference for the determination of sanctions for allegedly frivolous pleadings at the end of the case makes a good deal of sense. So saying, Your Honor, after we show you all the evidence and you deem that this is frivolous, and then you want to get rid of it and sanction me, well, that makes sense. But it doesn't make sense, and you can't make it make sense to try to sanction me, okay, and try to deem my client's allegations as frivolous when you haven't even seen a shred of evidence. And guess what, Your Honor? We have the receipts, okay? Now here, Carter is seeking a Rule 11 determination before any discovery has even been undertaken. That's because it's desperate, okay? If a lawyer does that, that is clearly, you guys, a sign of utter desperation. Now, at a minimum, until discovery has been completed, the court simply cannot find that no reasonable evidentiary basis for a factual claim was disclosed in pretrial proceedings or at trial. The prerequisite for any examination by this court of counsel's Rule 11 responsibilities. Now, as the case Carter's lawyers themselves make clear, there is no basis for dismissal. This is all nefarious. And then here, the footnote says, court did not abuse discretion. Now, they reference a case, Marina Management Serves, Inc. Versus Vessel My Girls, okay? And in this case, this was a case from 2000. They say court did not abuse discretion when it unduly prolonged litigation in which counsel engaged in name-calling. This is what Jay-Z's been doing. Please pay attention. When counsel engaged in name-calling, personal attacks, and petty arguments. That's what Jay-Z and Spiro have been doing. Burden the court with repetitions of arguments already rejected. Okay. And so court dismissed counterclaims upon finding that they were frivolous and designed primarily to harass Jay-Z and Alex Spiro, to harass and delay a final resolution. Then they reference the case of Perry v. Gore, 2009, where they say dismissing plaintiffs' inmates' civil rights action as a sanction, where plaintiff filed 29 civil rights cases alleging similar fact patterns and had admitted that he had filed fraudulent claims and allegations in at least 2 of those actions, noting that plaintiff cannot play one district against another and assert as valid allegations from the same fact pattern in one court that he calls a fraud in another. Carter's lawyer should be ordered to pay plaintiff's attorney's fees for opposing this frivolous motion. Now, Buzbee wants them to pay. I want y'all to pay attention. Buzbee done flipped the whole entire script. And unlike Alex Spiro and Jay-Z, he has the receipts, and he has a very good reason for filing this. Like, this all is making sense. What Jay-Z was doing was just a reach. Okay, it fell flat. Now, Rule 11C2 expressly provides the court the authority to award to the prevailing party the reasonable expenses, including attorney's fees incurred for the motion. Now, courts in this circuit have exercised its authority where, as here, a Rule 11 motion was filed for improper purposes. Now, awarding the non-movement attorneys fees where the motion was filed for an improper purpose. And then they reference several cases. Okay, Advisory Committee notes 1993 Rule 11 motions should not be prepared to intimidate an adversary into withdrawing contentions that are favorably or that are fairly debatable. Okay, so yeah, they're saying that he filed this only to intimidate and harass, which is what he did. It's all true. Now, as demonstrated above, the motion is factually and legally meritless and was filed for an improper purpose. Describing improper purposes as including to harass, cause unnecessary delay, or needlessly increase the cost of litigation. None of plaintiff's allegations, I didn't think about that, or needlessly to increase the cost of litigation. So by filing all of these frivolous motions, what they're trying to do is make the plaintiff or the accuser have to pay more in attorney's fees. Like, just keep letting her bills stack up. Okay. And so that Tony Buzbee will just get fed up and just say, you know what, this is not even worth it. We don't really have a case. We don't have the proof. Her story's inconsistent. And now they're coming at me from all angles, trying to discredit my law firm and myself. And let's just call it quits. That's what they were hoping for. Jay-Z, you thought that was going to fly. Sadly, it backfired, but let's continue. None of plaintiff's allegations in this action are demonstrably false, and the motion has proffered no evidence that would warrant their withdrawal, much less an award of sanctions against plaintiff's counsel. Carter's meritless motion crosses the line between zealous advocacy and sanctionable conduct under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11. Accordingly, Carter should be required to reimburse plaintiff and her counsel for their legal fees in opposing this motion. Now, see, here's the thing. Now Buzbee wants legal fees for himself too, mind you, because not only did he hire another attorney for Jane Doe, he also hired an attorney for himself. So now he wants Jay-Z to have to pay both of their legal fees. Okay, please pay attention. This is all so nefarious. Now, in conclusion, for the reasons set forth above, the court should deny the motion in its entirety, and plaintiff and her counsel should be awarded fees and costs incurred in opposing it. So, since you want to sit here and make us have to go through all the motions and file all this stuff and just bring forth all of this, we want you, and I had to work all these billable hours, you need to pay up, Jay-Z. That's what Buzbee's saying. Okay, and then there's a certificate of compliance. I hereby certify that this brief does comply with Rule 3D of this court's individual practices because it contains 7,911 words. Okay, I'm going to skip past all of that. But he included a myriad of stuff in here. Okay. I mean, he definitely brought receipts. As you all can see here, Exhibit A. And these are some other filings. First amended complaint for trial. That's what that was. The FAC. He has the pictures of the supposed container that the drugs were likely in. Okay, he's got, it looks like a map, search records. And, it's interesting that Alex Spiro really thought that he was going to get away with this crap, trying to imply that Tony Buzbee didn't vet the client properly. It looks like pictures of J-Lo and Diddy on the night in question. That's them at the awards show. What is this? Find time for Puffy party. It says Puff Daddy coughed up $2,000 yesterday as he took the rap for throwing a wild party in the Hamptons last summer. Puffy, a.k.a. Sean Combs, pleaded guilty to violating his party permit for the 4th of July bash at his East Hampton home. Okay. I wonder how that's going to be relevant. Cops raided Puffy's party at his $2.5 million vacation home at 11 p.m., a full hour past the time limit on his permit. They found more than 700 revelers inside, while the permit allowed for only 200 guests. So Diddy was having parties with hundreds of people. Okay, 700 people in there. There were more than 500 cars parked within a quarter mile of Combs' property in the Northwest Woods neighborhood, although the permit limited the number of vehicles to 90. And cops say that Combs was playing music at an ear-splitting 79 decibels, while the noise law allows for only 50. Combs replied, "Yes, sir," when Town Justice Robert Walker asked him if he understood the plea bargain. Oh, so he took a plea deal. After the 4-minute hearing, Combs walked out without speaking to reporters and drove off in his white Land Rover. Combs still faces weapons and bribery charges in connection with the Times Square nightclub shooting last December. He and his girlfriend, singer J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, fled in a limo after his protege. Okay, so they're basically, I guess he's just bringing up Diddy's criminal history. That's what it looks like, and his and the fact that he has these wild parties. And this is the picture of him and Jay-Z. Now, here's what I want you all to pay attention to, because remember I reported to you guys that when they showed this picture trying to establish the fact that Jay-Z and Diddy were trying to establish the fact that basically they were elsewhere. Well, as I told you guys, and you can clearly see here, that this was Jay-Z's Diddy's 4th of July party in the East Hamptons. This was on July the 2nd of 2000. Mind you, the VMAs was September the 7th of 2000. Okay, so this proves nothing. Okay, so anyway, honey, I find this all interesting. Please pay attention. I find it all interesting at the end of the day. So what do you all think? How's it looking for Jay-Z? How do y'all think this is looking for Jay-Z? I think it's looking like a whole hot mess. Ooh. 887 says, this lady is too smart to be believing some damn Tony Buzbee. Honey, let me tell you something. I'm too smart to be believing Alex Spiro. Okay, I don't know if you missed it, beloved, but I already showed the receipts of Spiro. He's definitely nefarious. Spiro has mistreated, allegedly, these are clients in the past. Bobby Shmurda, okay, said he was forced to take a plea deal. He's done nefarious things, dropped Kanye like a hot potato when Kanye had allegations against him for hate speech. Okay, he just does shady stuff as far as I'm concerned. It is not Buzbee at the end of the day. I'm too smart to be fooled. That's what I am. I'm too smart to sit there and think. See, what you're basing this off of is you just want Jay-Z to get off. Well, trust me, Jay-Z's not going to jail. I've already said that. And in fact, Jay-Z doesn't even have any criminal charges filed anyway. This is a civil suit against Jay-Z. Now, Diddy's the one that's in the criminal case. But with that all being said, if you guys remember, you heard it here first, I also told you how Alex Spiro is connected to the CIA. Okay? I want you all to pay attention. I also told you guys the main reason, in my opinion, that Alex Spiro tried to denounce the friendship between Jay-Z and Diddy, it was not only to separate Jay-Z and Diddy, but also because Alex Spiro has been hired by Tupac's family to find evidence to substantiate that Diddy himself had something to do with Tupac's murder. Now think about that. That could be seen or viewed as a conflict of interest because you're going against the man who's the co-defendant of your own client. Okay, so that's another reason he want to make it seem like, oh, they didn't have anything to do with each other. They were just business partners. It was all professional. Okay, so please pay attention. He says Buzbee is shady as F, looking up how he stole victims' money and gave a woman an STD. Sir, that has not been proven. Okay. Once again, you see, unlike yourself, I go by the facts. I don't go by my feelings. Tony Buzbee has not been proven to have given that woman an STD. And in fact, reading the court documents, I can tell you the woman is lying. I went over that on a live. Sorry if you missed it, but she's absolutely lying about the STD. Second of all, taking money from clients, that's never been proven. Okay. All of those were frivolous filings that were allegedly done by people that Jay-Z and Alex Spiro reportedly hired. Okay. That's what Tony Buzbee is assessing and asserting. Okay? I said, I'm sorry, honey. If you're a Jay-Z fanboy, you're going to believe what you want to believe. See, I don't have a dog in the fight. So I'm able to look at things objectively because I don't give a damn about Jay-Z and I don't know Jane Doe. Okay? Now, that all been said, sorry if your butt hurt. All right? But if you don't like what the queen's cooking, you can always exit stage left. All right? So with that all being said, Fat Boo says, hold on. Fat Boo says, where'd it come and go? Sounds like Spiro is compromised. Well, I think that he's definitely nefarious. Okay, I don't trust him. And like I told you guys over a month ago, I said, while everybody's sitting here looking at Tony Buzbee like he's shady, first of all, let's get this straight. All lawyers are shady, in my opinion. But while everybody's here focusing on Tony Buzbee, nobody's looking at Alex Spiro. Okay, I was the first one to point that out and bring up all the shady things that he's done. So with that all being said, I definitely don't think Tony Buzbee is the problem here. I think that, in fact, Tony Buzbee has the proof and receipts. Jay-Z and Alex Spiro and the rest of their attorneys, they're absolutely desperate. That's why they be sitting there paying people to go and try to get them to file frivolous lawsuits against Tony Buzbee. You're risking your livelihood. Okay? Now, remember, they reportedly got this female attorney that they've worked with in the past to go out and do all of this. Probably thinking it wouldn't be tied to them, but she made a mistake. Remember when she posted on her social media saying, it's been a pleasure working with you or something like that? I'm paraphrasing. And then she was basically admitting that she'd been working with them for years. So that's how they tied it back to them. Okay. So I just want you all to pay attention. I'm sorry, but Alex Spiro is the one that is absolutely shady, honey, not Tony Buzbee. I mean, he might be shady too, but Alex Spiro clearly has him beat. Okay. Who is this Johnny come lately? The queen has already brought all of these receipts. Thank you, beloved. Honey, I don't know who these people are. Sometimes they just pop up because they see the title or whatever. But at the end of the day, don't come here trying to question my receipts if you haven't been here for the entirety of the reporting. This is one live out of many. Okay? So please pay attention. Now, Dragon Lynn said Jigga don't want nothing to come out because it proves about him liking little munchkins. Okay. Hold on. King Tizzy, do you need me to drop the link so you can get up here? Since you want to call me dumb, how can she be so dumb? No, how can you be so dumb, sir? Do you want to get it? Or ma'am, you could be a ma'am. I don't know what you are, but whatever you are, would you like for me to drop the link? Because you can get up here on the screen and talk. I mean, because we can all sit in chats and talk trash or whatever, but I'm going to drop the link, okay? I'm going to drop the link, and you can just get up here and tell the queen what you have to say. That's how we roll over here, sir or ma'am. There's the link. Please click it. Please click it, okay? Please click it and explain to me how I'm dumb. You see, what's dumb is you coming in at the tail end of a discussion, not having seen any further proof or previous proof or receipts that have been knocked. Okay, I know you probably suck Jay-Z's balls. Okay, because that's what it sounds like, sir. Do you suck Jay-Z's balls? Is that what you do? Is that why you're mad at the queen? Because you're a fanboy? You're a male groupie? Is that what it is? Is that what it is, sir? I'm waiting for you to click that link. It don't look like you want to click it. I mean, you're bold enough to talk trash. Corey Love TV says, peace and love. Spiro was just proven again to be a liar with that demand letter. Buzbee just dropped. Keep dropping the receipts, queen. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. I appreciate you. And thanks for popping in. And you all make sure that you follow Corey Love TV. He gives excellent commentary. Okay? Make sure you all follow him. Thank you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, with that all being said, sir, you want to try to go in on the queen? I got something for you, though. Hold on. Hold on. Since you want to come here and call the queen dumb, I'm so sorry you had to do it.
Funky dog head, bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking
Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur
reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the
royals
and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
And that's on box. I love it. Okay, so sir, I'm sorry. Don't come for me unless I send for you. And I absolutely did just send for you when I dropped that link that you refused to click. I just want everyone to notice that. I just want everyone to notice that. You see, when you come here talking crazy to me, be prepared to say it to my face. Because I drop links around here, okay? Because the queen got time today. I I just looked at my wrist. I got time today. Like, please pay attention. All right. He don't want to click that link, it looks like. So, which further lets me know that he's a coward. All right. So anyway, listen, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed this broadcast. Tony Buzbee has the receipts. Jay-Z, it's not looking good for you and Mr. Spiro, okay, who's sitting up here being a whole liar who lies. And quite frankly, me, I don't know why liars lie. And I also find it interesting because, like I told you guys, Alex Spiro, if he and Jay-Z did hire these people to go and try to, get these people to file these frivolous claims, which I'm pretty sure they did, because who else would have motive? Okay, who else would have motive to go and do this and offering them money? Let's not forget that one man alleged that they offered him like $10,000. Okay, so if they're doing these type of tactics, engaging in these type of unethical practices, that clearly proves that they're desperate. Okay, that's what that proves. That clearly proves that they're desperate. So with that all being said, everyone please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, and make sure you keep your notifications on because I might go live again later. And I think I'm going to be on the spiritual channel at about 1:30. So for those of you who follow the spiritual channel, Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, more than meets your third eye, please be sure to tune in. All right, so each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got